All right, next one is Bill says, I think you mentioned that you've looked at Search Console data. Oh, yeah, and I've got an example here to test to show you. I think you mentioned that you've looked at at Search Console data to find keywords for linking. What do you do exactly? Any way to speed it up? Well, I'm glad you asked, because first of all, yes, I will demonstrate how to do it in Search Console, but how to speed it up? Get SEO gets. Adam, if you're still on, that's a great opportunity to drop the drop the link for SEO gets.
Let me
Um,
just drop that over here.
Yeah, which by the way, that is an amazing tool, an application. It really is. It's super cool because it's very simple tool that does just data display, but in a much simpler way than Search Console. And you can see like all of your accounts in one screen. It's really cool. It's perfect for like those of you that are building lead gen assets because you can connect all of your lead gen assets to SEO Gets and you can see on one big dashboard screen all of your sites. And so if you're in the DHA program, I'm teaching people to do keyword and competition and location research to try to find low competition areas. Those are the areas you build the sites in, the local lead gen sites. And you just deploy site after site after site. It's the same template. Once you've modified the first version of the template for your chosen industry with the keywords, the images, and all that, then you clone that and you just redeploy that over and over and over again for each new location. So it's easily scalable. And then you just put all of those in the Search Console and an organic rank tracker. I use Zootrix for that because Zootrix is very inexpensive. And it's just organic assets, no GVPs. And so you do all that in Zootrix or any rank tracker you want. I just use that because it's inexpensive. And then Search Console and with SEO Gets, you can look at all of your lead generation assets on one dashboard screen, and you can see which ones are getting traffic, which ones aren't. The ones that are getting traffic are obviously the ones that you can monetize. So it's just a great method. And SEO Gets is going to be integrated into our program as well. Because that's what I'm teaching people to do is go out build a bunch of lead generation assets. Because when you do your keyword and competition research properly, you're going to find areas, especially with the LOG site structure that I've been developing for 2 freaking years. No kidding. And the current version is the control, meaning it's the best performer. I've not found anything that beats that configuration yet. And so once you figure it out, once you figure out your industry, the best keywords, and you implement that into the LOG site structure that I built, then now you just duplicate that over and over and over again, but based upon keyword and competition and location research, identify low competition areas. And then you just deploy site after site after site. And by the way, I expect people that go through our program to learn how to do it. But as soon as they learn how to do it and are comfortable, it's delegate that. Hire a VA, pay a VA. Don't pay them per hour. Even some of my program members now have said to me, like, I'm paying a VA and I feel like they're taking time from me because it's taking, why are you paying them by the hour? Pay them per task completed because that gives them, look, if you pay somebody by the hour, doesn't it give them incentive to drag their feet? Of course it does. So pay them per task completed because that gives them incentive to become more efficient, right? Because they make more money. The more they produce, the more they make. So it's in their best interest to be more efficient. And so pay them to deploy an LLG site, do the research and deploy an LLG site. Let's say you pay them $30 per site. No kidding. I can do an LLG site myself in about 2.5 to 3 hours, right? If you trained a VA, but by the way, we have full SOPs for this, plug them in the SOP, that's going to take them probably 8 hours, 10 hours to do the first one. The second time it might take them 6 hours. The third time it'd probably take them 4. The fourth time, now they're talking about, get down to three hours or less per site build. Because I've done several of them myself, which is why I've gotten it down to about 2.5 or 3 hours from start to finish to deploy a site. So let's say you hire a Philippines VA and you pay him $30 per site and tell them, look, the first one's going to go slow. We're paying by the hour to do the first one, whatever. So paying $5 or $6 an hour and it takes them 10 hours and you pay 50 or $60. But now they know it. Pay them because I do that for my VAs, by the way. When I bring new VAs on, I pay them to go by the hour to go through the training, the SOPs. Once they have completed their whatever tasks I've assigned to them via the SOPs, and they've proven that the work that they've done is acceptable, right? The quality is there and all that, passes all the tests, all my quality control tests. Then they're moved to paid per task pay per completed task, excuse me. And that's it. I've only got 2 hourly employees out of 28. And that's because everybody else is paid per task, so that it gives them incentive to become more efficient, to become more productive. And I tell them, you have the SOP, you've learned the process. Now it's up to you. If you can find ways to make it more efficient, apps, tools, etc., that are going to help you to be able to do this task faster, then by all means do that, because that it's their responsibility. They can write their own paycheck that way, right? And so something like these LLG sites, like I said, it's if you pay somebody $30, like it just as an example, maybe pay them to go through the SOP by the hour. Once they know it, they're producing consistent quality, etc., then change them over to like $30 an hour. Now, if a VA in the Philippines can deploy an LLG site from start to finish in 3 hours, and you pay him $30, that's $10 an hour. That's damn good money for a Philippines virtual assistant, right? Let's say that they get really good because that's their sole job. Like I can do it in 2.5 or 3 hours, and I've done about a dozen, maybe 15 of those sites. But if somebody's doing it and that's their full-time job is just doing those sites over and over and over again, they will get incredibly efficient at it. And so let's say it takes them 2 hours. Now, didn't they just increase their pay from $10 an hour to 15? They're not getting paid per the hour, but essentially they just increased their pay by 50% because they reduced their the time to complete by 33% in that exam, right? From 3 hours to two, it increased their wage or their earnings by 50%. There's a reduction in time to complete by 33%, right? And so again, it's incentive for them to get really good. So anyway, all of that, guys, was to say like SEO Gets is a really good way to identify stuff from Search Console very, very quickly. Now to get back to the question that was asked 5 minutes ago. I think you mentioned that you've looked at Search Console data to find keywords for linking. What do you do exactly? I'm going to show you how to do it. So here in Search Console, I'm just using an example project. This is Felling Pro, which is just it was one of the sites that I was testing for doing multi-location lead generation assets. Multi-location meaning across multiple states. This is not the best performer. The LLG site structure that I've been teaching in the mastermind now for quite some time, that is the best performing by far. And that is why I call it the control, because I've yet to been able to beat the performance of that particular structure. It's site template, architecture, whatever you want to call it. They all mean the same thing. But anyways, here's Felling Pro. So to start with, go to performance, select the domain from Search Console or the URL prefix. That's how this is. This is called a URL prefix, right? So then go to performance. Then what you want to do is select the page or the search query that you want to analyze. So I'm going to go to pages in this case. And we're going to go, let's see, I'm just going to do rows per page. I always like to expand that data. And then you can sort by position if you want or whatever. Just go find the page that you're interested in targeting. I'm going to we're going to go with this one, Phoenixville, right here. This has got 1,649 impressions, but it's on average position 22. And so it's got 0 clicks over the last 3 months. So let's go in and take a look at that. That's on average position too. So that's not as, yeah, that's okay. We can still use this as the example. So then just click into that URL. So guys, just to clarify, go to performance, pages, find the page that you're looking to extract the search queries that Google's given that page impressions for. In this case, like I said, I'm going to use this Phoenixville, Pennsylvania page. So then click on that page, and then once you click that page, you'll see that it's been added up here. So that's a filter. It's only showing data for that specific page URL. And then you just come down and click queries. Now, if I expand that, now you can see the search queries that page has got been given impressions for. So then you can export that data, eliminate or delete any of the non-relevant search queries that aren't relevant to that specific page. And then what's left is now your list of keywords that you can use for anchor text for link building. Because now this is varied, guys. This is what Google already has. Google already understands or thinks that this page is relevant for these search queries, which is why it got an impression. It doesn't matter where it is in the search results, guys. That makes no difference for this method. This is about identifying what does Google think this page is relevant to? Which search queries is this page relevant to, according to Google? And out of those, you want to extract the ones that are clearly not related or relevant to that project. But the rest of them, those now become anchor text that can be used for or excuse me, keywords that can be used for anchor text for link building. You can also use those search or those phrases in like CTR stuff, right? If you're doing that. So this is a great way to do it. By the way, you can also take some of those search queries and kind of sprinkle them through the content. Although I've been teaching a lot about this recently in the mastermind for local projects, guys. It's not about the content. It's not about the content. It's truly not. It's about the structure, page structure, URL, SEO, title, H1, headings, and subheadings. That's what it's about. And then how that page relates to the other pages on the site, and how you do that is through internal linking. And it's not about the content on the page. I'm not kidding. It's about the headings, the biggest optimization elements of the page itself. That is what Google is using to determine what the page is about now. Not read for local. I'm talking about local because I can hear it already. Well, that's not true. Okay. I'm talking about local, specifically for local. Google is not, and that may change. It likely will change. But right now, it's not content that matters. It's the structure that matters. And I've been proving that over and over and over again recently. By the way, some of you guys that are in the mastermind, I talked about this, I think last week. I said I was going to set up a test where I'm going to take the Buckin and Felling Pro site and duplicate that onto another domain and remove all content except for headings and images. And I did that, by the way. That site's it's deployed. It's still set to no index because I think I still have 2 or 3 pages left to pull the content out of, like delete the content from those pages. So maybe on Friday I'll get that done, and by the next Build with Bradley meeting, it'll be live, hopefully indexed by that point. But for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I do have a test out there right now where that, again, I've started to build the test. I have not completed it yet. But that is, can I rank a local site with no content other than images and headings, or headings and images, excuse me. So the proper structure, page structure, site structure, internal linking, that is all done properly, but no content other than images and headings. And I think I can do it. I'm almost 100% sure I can do it. Because again, it's not content that Google's looking at right now. I'm not saying that's not going to change, but right now, Google's not really paying attention to the content for local sites. It's about the main elements of the page. So anyway, hopefully that's clear. Guys, again, Search Console, go to Performance, select the page that you want to select. So go to Pages, just find whatever page it is you want to look at. Preferably the ones that have high impression counts but are no clicks. Those are ones that you typically want to look at. So then click on the page. Once you click the page, click Queries. There you have it. There's your whole list of keywords. Go ahead.
Console Spy.
Oh yeah,
I just thought about that.
that's a good thing. Well, that's because we're talking about Search Console, so I understand. Yeah, we've also got. Do we have a sales page yet? Is that ready, or are we just teasing it right now?
No, I've got a early access list. Literally, I had it put together yesterday. So
Okay.
yeah, if you just want to tell people kind of what we're working on, we don't have a date or anything. It's just in a very potentially getting close to beta kind of version. But I've got an early access list if people want to find out about it.
Yeah. So Console Spy, it's a domain I bought, I don't know, several years ago. Because I needed it for white label stuff anyway. But we decided to, and I had an idea for an app, which was to build a Search Console app, or an app that integrates with Search Console that then can trigger notifications when certain thresholds were met, like a page hits a certain ranking position, things like that, and it will send a notification out, say, hey, this page just reached, position 15 from whatever it was previously. You might want to go in and it basically just prompts you to go in and take a look at, analyze that particular page URL a little bit more to determine, can you do things to the content to improve it, or the structure is what I would recommend for local. It's not really the content, it's the structure. Can you optimize the structure of the page for it to perform better? Can you build links to that page, which is what exactly what I just showed you right here. That's what the app is intended to do, is to trigger you to then go look at, okay, this page is now in position, 15 or whatever the threshold is that either we set, because we haven't decided whether we're going to set that or we're going to allow you to set that threshold as to when it sends the notification. But let's say that you've got a page that, you published on a client site, and you've been tracking it for the last few weeks, and it's slowly climbing up from page 3 onto page 2, and then if the Console Spy app will send a notification when it hits that minimum threshold. Let's say position 15. That's just an example. And then it will basically send you a notification that says, hey, go look at this. This page is close to getting onto page one. And then you can go in and do what I just showed you here, which is go extract your search queries and then build links to it or optimize the structure of the page better. Again, it's not really about the content right now, but maybe the page structure, maybe your headings need to be optimized better, SEO title, URL, whatever. So go in and do that. Now you've got your search queries or keywords that you would be using for anchor text for link building. All of those things can now be applied to that page to push it over onto page one. If that makes sense. That's what Console Spy is. It's going to be very, very inexpensive. Very inexpensive, especially initially in beta, because we're still developing. I want to add a bunch of features to it over time. But yeah, you guys can check it out. So, okay. Sweet.